right? So the next set of operators in SQL is going to be set operators, right? So this you would be familiar with relational algebra, right? So relational algebra also we have this set operators. We have union, intersect, minus operator, and so on, right? So assume that you have two tables, first table and second table, right? The name of the table, first table is the first table is first and the second table is second, right? So you are going to perform some union operators on this table, right? So select star from first union, select star from second. So it will return the records that are present in both the relations first and second, right? So the output will be the attributes ID and name. So you have all the rows with IDs 1, 2, 1, 3, right? So it returns the tuples or records that are present in both the relations first and second, right? So the corresponding SQL statement is going to be select star from first union, select star from second, right? So we can also use intersect operator to combine two select statements, right? So intersect operator is used whenever you need to return the common records that are present in both the relations, right? So we are going to use the same tables, select star from first, and instead of the union keyword we are going to use the intersect keyword, select star from first, intersect, select star from second. So it is going to return the common records that are present in the relation first and second, right? So only the row with the ID 2 is going to be common in both the tables first and second. So it will return the row corresponding to the ID 2. And the next operator is going to be minus operator. So again, it's a binary operator which can combine two relations, and it returns the result from the first relation, right? So it returns the records that are present in the first relation but that are not present in the second relation. So it returns the unique records that are present in the first relation but not present in the second relation, right? So we have records 1 and 2 in the relation first, and records 2 and 3 in the relation second, right? So the record with ID 1, Abhi, is going to be unique, and it is going to be present in the first relation, but it's not present in the second relation. So it's going to return the result, and output will look like this, right? So we have the set operators like union, intersect, and minus, right? So these are the three set operators that are supported in SQL, right? So in SQL, or whenever you work with data, so we also have a lot of null values. So null is a term that is used to represent a missing value, right? So for example, whenever you have some data of customers, right? So for the customer 6 and 7, the salary attribute value is missing, right? So a null value in a table is a value in a field that appears to be blank, right? So there are a lot of data pre-processing techniques for working with null values, right? So in SQL, we'll study about null statement as well as not null statement. So for example, let us first look into this not null operator, right? So for example, we are interested in selecting all the records from the customers where the salary detail is not null. So we use this not null operator, right? So once you execute this query, select ID, comma, name, age, address, salary from customers where salary is not null, right? So it will return all the records except the records 6 and 7, right? So the records 6 and 7, they contain the salary attributes is going to be null value. So whenever you are going to execute this command, right, select ID, name, age, address, salary, or select star from customers, where salary is not null, it returns the records for which the salary attribute value is going to be not null. So similar to not null operator, we also have this null operator, right? So they are inverse of each other. So the null operator can be used to return all the records for which some attribute value is going to be null, right? So for example, we need to display all the details of the customers for whom the salary value is going to be null. It's going to be select ID, comma, name, comma, age, address, salary from customers, where salary is null, right? So this null operator, it is used to return all the records with some missing values, right? So these are the two operators that you need to know in SQL, right? So whenever you have some missing values and you need to display the records without missing values, we can go for this not null operator. And whenever I need to display the records which contain some missing values, I need to go for this null operator, right? So the next topic is like subquery. So subquery or inner query or nested query, right? So you have different names. It's a nested query or a inner query or subquery. Is a query in which one query is embedded within another query, right? So there are few rules that the subqueries must follow. Subqueries must be enclosed within the parenthesis, right? So initially the inner query will be executed followed by the outer query in the case of subqueries, and the subqueries it should be enclosed within a parenthesis. A subquery can have only one column in the select class unless multiple columns are in the main query for the subquery to compare its selected components, selected columns, right? So the inner query generally it returns a value for only one column in the select class, right? So subqueries that return more than one row can only be used with multiple operators such as the in operator, right? So if the subquery returns more than one rows, then we need to go for this in operator. So you cannot use order by clause inside a subquery, right? Only the main query can use the order by clause, right? So we are going to use the group by function, which can be used to perform the same function as order by in a subquery, right? So subquery or nested query in SQL is where you have one query embedded within another query, right? So in the case of subqueries, the inner query will be executed followed by the outer query. So we'll see some example for subquery, right? So for example, you need to display the details of customers for whom the salary is going to be greater than 4,500, right? So initially you are going to display, you are going to select the customers, select ID from customers where salary is greater than 4,500. And for those customers alone, we are going to display all the attribute details, right? So select star from customers where ID in. So the ID is going to be select star from customers where salary is going to be greater than 4,500, right? So here we use this in keyword. So whenever an inner query returns more than one rows, right? So we are going to use this in keyword, right? Right. So for example, consider a table customers backup with a similar structure as customers table, right? Now we are going to copy the complete customers table into customers backup. We use the following syntax, right? So insert into customers backup, select star from customers where ID in, select ID from customers, right? So you are going to copy all the information about the customers into this customers backup table, right? So similarly, like you have a customers table and you want to increment the salary of the customers by 25% only if the age of the customer is going to be greater than 27, right? So we are going to use this query, right? So initially you are going to return the age of the customers whose age is going to be greater than 27, and for all the customers whose age is going to be greater than 27, we are going to uh, update the salary as 25% increment, right? So we are going to increment the salary as right. So sorry, uh, we are going to update salary as 25% of the salary, right? So it's not incrementing. We are going to replace the salary as 25% of the salary for all the customers whose age is going to be greater than 27, right? So here we are using two tables: select age from customers backup where age is going to be greater than 27, right? So this query returns all the customers whose age is going to be greater than 27, and for all the customers whose age is going to be greater than 27, we are going to initialize the salary as 25% of the salary value in the table, right? So this would impact only two rows, and finally customers table would have the following records. So it has impacted, I think it has impacted Ramesh salary has been reduced to 125, and I think here it is displaying only greater than or equal to 27. Hardik, so Hardik salary has been reduced to 25% of his original pay, right? So again, we have a query to delete from customers where age in select age from customers backup where age is going to be greater than 27, right? So this would impact two rows, and finally customers table would have the following records.